Hey guys, welcome to the next part of Higurashi When They Cry. This time I'm bringing you guys chapter 2. If you missed chapter 1, I would urge you to go back and watch it. It's on the channel, you can find it in the playlist section. But for the rest of us, it's finally time to see what else this game has in store for us. So without further ado, you can see my mouse. Oh my god. Cotton Drifting Chapter. How was your taste of life in Hinamizawa? A curse or a conspiracy? I believe you fully enjoyed everything and everyone seeming suspicious. Here at last. It is no surprise attack but a real direct incident. Please enjoy it. The difficulty is lower than in Onikakushi but extremely vicious. That's funny because there was zero difficulty in the first chapter. Shut your face, baby. I will not quench your thirst, for you seek the truth and could not accept that. I will not quench your thirst, for the truth you desire does not exist. But I still want to quench your thirst, for I am the one who cast you into the desert. What was going on with their eyes in the cutscene, by the way? The chirping of birds served as my alarm clock. Damn it! I can't move with my thing. How about now? Huh? I still can't move with my thing. That sucks, dude. Shit, wasn't today Sunday? So control seems to work. Hopefully it doesn't skip. Wasn't it basically my style to stay up late on Saturday and sleep through the morning on Sunday? Why was I waking up at this disgustingly wholesome hour? Back to sleep, back to sleep. I'm kind of, listen, I gotta save my game real quick. Just save it. Save it right there. Because I'm gonna try to hold down control. It skips! It skips, dudes! Mission abort! Mission the fuck abort! It doesn't work. It doesn't, I can't use that key. It scares the fuck out of me. So what else can I use? Hold on, we gotta figure this out. Settings. Skip unread text off. So why you skipping it then? Fuck you mean, dude? I can't. Whatever, we might have to do this. It doesn't work. At that moment, hold on, what happens if I do that? Shit. It hides, okay. At that moment, the sound of my mother calling me from downstairs finally registered. What the fuck? Why do you work? What is happening here? Phone call. I sprang up out of bed abruptly and stampeded noisily down the stairs. Fuck you know. I hate it. Why doesn't it want to work? That sucks. He's awake. I'll put him on right now. My mother informed the person on the other end of the line. Okay, you know what? Hold up. I gotta fix this somehow. Because I don't want to be clicking like a billion times. 1 second. Okay, I did not manage to find a solution to it, so whatever.
もしもし。
Now it fucking works! What the fucking...
俺。どちら様？
おはよう、ケイチくん。お寝坊さんだね。
レーナーか。こんな朝っぱらから何の用だよ。
When are we in this timeline?
朝っぱらってことはないと思うな。もうお昼だよ。
It was 11 o'clock. I guess you could loosely consider that middle of the day.
で、なんか用か？
ちょっと待ってね。今、みーちゃんに変わるよ。Good morning, ケイちゃん。日本語で言うなら、おはよう、ケイちゃんってとこかな。
Yeah.
ついでに中国語とドイツ語とロシア語でも言ってみろ。
ニーハオ、ケイちゃん。グーテンモルゲン、ケイちゃん。ロシア語ダズビダーニャ。知るわけないでしょ。
How should I know, Blin?
まあいいや。バカな話してたら目が覚めた。
そりゃ結構なことで。でさ、ケイちゃん今日暇？ケイちゃんが大丈夫なら全員揃うんだけどな。
Everybody? Did she mean all the club members?
そうだよ。まあ、普段の激戦を思えば、休日くらいのどかに、なんて思ってるかもしれないけど、そりゃ甘いよ、ケイちゃん。
へいへい。あらゆる環境に対応して最善手を模索するのが、つまり休日だろうとお構いなしってわけだ。
おお、ケイちゃんも我が部のことが分かってきたね。でどう？これさ。
I had absolutely nothing planned that day. If I were to refuse Club President Mion's invitation, what other fun ways to pass time would I have?
別に予定なんかねえし、嫌だって言ったら不先輩扱いでどんな罰ゲームを課せられるやら。
そこまで分かってるなら断れないよね。もし OK ならいつもの待ち合わせ場所に1時集合。町へ行くから自転車で来てね。
Club activities in town? Well, we could do them anywhere. Besides, since it was a new venue, there was no way this wasn't going to be intense.
私、おとといの赤杯かなり根に持ってるからね。今日ははっきり言って負けないよ。
A couple of days ago was Friday's club activities. That uncompromising poker match. It was a fight to the death. Nobody held back. Nobody could tell who was in the lead or who was last until the points were tallied. In the end, I won by only 1 chip. Mion came in second. Damn it! To think, if I hadn't squandered that 1 chip. Mion lamented thus, perhaps more so than the fact that she lost the match. Mion doesn't lose. That's why Mion only whined when she let the champion's throne slip through her fingers. That's why she was more frustrated than anybody over a close loss. So, did she mean for today to be a grudge match?
上等だ。おととい同様、一気に畳んで罰ゲームさせてやるぜ。せいぜい自分がやらされても辛くない内容にしとくんだな。
こなくっちゃ。潰しがいがないもんね。
After that, we exchanged jeers for a bit before hanging up the phone. As I headed back up the stairs hastily to get the key to my bike, I bumped into my mother as she was carrying a futon down.
あらケイチ、上機嫌みたいね。お出かけ？
Yes, ma'am.
そんなとこ俺みんなと街に遊びに行ってく。
行ってらっしゃい。車に気をつけるのよ。夕飯までには帰ってくるのよ。
へいへい、ちゃんと帰ってくるって。
After unlocking the chain from my bike in the garage, I reveled a bit in the resistance the slightly stiff pedal gave as I pushed on it. Alright, let's go. I stood off from my bike, cutting through the refreshing morning air.
ケイチくん、遅いよ遅いよ。
おう、待たせたな。あれ、さとことリカちゃんは？
あの二人はここで待ち合わせるより直接街で合流した方が早いよ。
I see. If I remembered correctly, Satoko and Rika-chan houses were on the other side past school.
そうそう、街で部活ってどういうことだよ。まさかみんなで覆面をして日が暮れるまでにいくつ銀行が襲えるかっていうのじゃねえだろうな。
別にそれでもいいけど、それでも私は負けないけどね。
みーちゃんってね、なぜか現金輸送車の順路とか時間とかをいつもレナに教えてくれるんだよ。なんでだろうね、なんでだろうね。
I fucking hate you both. God! What is this fake shit? What? I spun around with a serious look on my face and looked at Mion. All I see when I look at Rena is lies. Well, it certainly seemed possible that Mion was capable of doing that.
マジかよ、ミオン。
レナ
And Mion, the old man.
まだ何言ってんの。
みーちゃんごめんね、みーちゃんごめんね。
The two of them joked around. That bright laughter was the best match for a beautiful day like today.
おい、二人ともさとことリカちゃんが先に待ってるんだろ。じゃれてないで早く行こうぜ。
Around and around, fooling about like two fluttering butterflies. I earnestly wished I could keep watching them like this. But the five of us together would be absolutely more fun.
そうだね。じゃあ行こっか。
目標は10億強奪。山分けしたらみんなで高飛びだぜ。
The three of us on our bikes headed gently over the sloping hill towards town. Accelerating hard, we crested the hill. The view expanded as Okonomiya Station came into sight. I occasionally come to the station here. Considering the amount of effort it takes to get through here, it was quite a hassle. That's why I didn't know much about the area around the station, or Okinomiya itself for that matter. The street we were headed down today was of course unfamiliar to me as well. Going through the railway crossing, we headed past the south end of the
こ
station.
っち側は来るの初めてだな。
こっちにはね、ゲームセンターとかおもちゃ屋さんとかがいろいろあるの。みーちゃんが詳しいよ。
ゲーセンもあるのか。俺前は結構通ってたからな。ゲーマーの血がうずくぜ。
ゲーセン通いなんてケイちゃん不良だね。今度来た時に案内してあげるよ。結構台数を揃えたいい店があるから。
It seemed like the tone of Okinomiya was Mion's stomping grounds. If I asked her, she could probably tell me a lot of things about it. Eventually, we came across a store with quite a few bikes parked in front of it. What's going on? Is the new comic out or something? Was this the arcade? No, it was a smaller shop. Looking at the window display, it seemed like an everyday toy shop. But for almost 10 kids to be filing in and out of the store, they were doing almost too well for themselves.
ひょっとしてあの店で今日何かイベントでもあるのか。
その通り。優勝賞金は5万円。
It's not a billion, but alright.
5万円？なんだよそれ。ケイチ王国の5年分の GNP に匹敵するぞ。
How do you know that, Keiichi? 2 two cute figures messing about in front of the store noticed us and waved their hands.
皆様方、お待ちしてましたよ。おはようございますなのです。
おはようリカちゃん。
He said that hey like he was accusing someone, like he noticed someone pilfering something, dude.
さとこ、警察が来る前にケリをつけるぞ。目標は10億強奪だ。
ケイイチさんの話がわかりませんわ。遅くなったかな。リカちゃんたちは今来たの？今日は早く終わったのでだいぶ待ってましたですよ。
そりゃあ悪いことしたわ。こっちはケイちゃんがなかなか来なくてさ。
ケイイチでは仕方ありませんですよ。
Saying that, Rika-chan stretched up and began patting Mion's head. Hey, wait a minute. Are you solving everything by making me the bad guy?
もちろん。
Good, cause you're neat people like me.
ケイイチさんでなくては務まらない大役でしたよ。
実に嫌な大役だな。こんなので丸く収まると思ったら大間違いだぞ。
I was feeling slightly irritated, so I began to repeatedly smack Satoko on the head. Smack, 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 smack.
ケイイチさんがぶったケイイチにいじめられてかわいそうかわいそうですよ。さとこちゃん泣いてる泣いてる。お持ち帰り。悪い人はレナお姉ちゃんがやっつけてあげるからね。
Bam! Rena ecstatically wiped the tears, which were probably fake, from Satoko's face while Rika-chan gently patted mine as I lay sprawled on the ground. Yep, this is fine.
やっぱりこれが正しい丸い収め方だよな。
前歯が欠ける前に新しいオチを探した方がいいと思うけどね。
Well done, upsy daisy. In any case, the greeting for today went well. Inside the toy shop, there were about 10 boys around the same age as me. Apparently, they all knew Mion, and finding out that she had arrived, they greeted her with jeers, a few at a time.
みーちゃんはこのおもちゃ屋さんの常連なの。だから友達もすっごく多いの。
おもちゃ屋の常連って何なんだ？
ほらケイイチさん、奥をご覧なさいませ。
Following Satoko's prompting, I took a look. There were chairs lined up at tables, almost like some sort of birthday party. I realized it immediately.
まさかこれって部活の会場なのか？
驚いたかいケイちゃん。私この店のおじさんと仲良しでね。たまに客寄せイベントってことでゲーム大会を開かせてもらってるんだよ。
Expand his customer base, I see. Meaning all the boys livening up the place were participants?
そうなの。いつもは5人だけど、今日はもっともっと大勢での部活なんだよ。
Rena was innocently happy about being able to play with so many people, but my expression grew noticeably stern.
ケイイチさんの考えてること、手に取るように分かりましたよ。
ほう、じゃあ試しに行ってみようか。言うぞ。せーの。
These are all enemies! Satoko's voice and mine blended together in harmony. We looked over at the participants. After all, the top prize was 50k yen. My eyes lit up like a flame.
ね、ケイちゃん。今日は楽しめそうでしょ？
まあな、ライバルが何人増えようが狙うものに変わりはないさ。
ライバル？はあ、ケイちゃん、クジラが水を飲むとき、今飲んだ水の中に何匹シラスが混じっていたか、いちいち数えてると思う？
She said that in an unpleasant voice, laughing with the aggressive glint in her eyes, reserved solely for club activities. Damn it, Mion. She's as serious as she can get today.
本気なのは私だけじゃないよ。ほら、リカちゃんを見てごらんよ。
Mion pointed. Looking at where her finger directed me,
なんだありゃ。
Rika-chan was using those kind of traits to soften the group up with an almost excessive pleasantness.
僕も頑張るのですよ。ファイト、王なのです。ファイト、
Completely emasculated, the group joined Rika-chan in a chair. The inside of the store had been consumed by the world of Rika-chan. Damn, she's already chomping at the bit.
今日は楽しくなりそうだね。頑張るよ。はうわ。
It seemed that Rena was also unusually fired up by the large crowd. Hopping about and running around, she had entered entirely into cute mode. In Rena's case, the real fun starts when her tension gauge fills up. Her happy-go-lucky attitude belied the fact that this was the state in which she was the most threatening. You say this now. Mion was making small talk with some of the regular customers she was acquainted with. It was like business as usual with her. Of course, if anybody thought that Mion looked ordinary, they were not qualified to be in our club. The shadow beneath her feet was exuding killer instinct, rising up like a chill wind.
ミヨンめ、恥も外聞も捨てるくらいに本気だな。
ケイチさん知らないんですの？賞金の5万円、ミオンさんの自腹でしたよ。
No way. What? She was putting out 50k yen all by herself? At that moment, a dark miasma that warped Mion's surroundings began to appear.
ん？何？ケイちゃん。私の顔に何かついてる？
Oh, we kind of started early this chapter, huh? Okay. A shiver crept up my spine. That Mion, cornering herself like that, she was pulling out the demon lurking within her. Fine with me. Damn it. My knees are shaking like crazy. Feels like mom's spaghetti. Before I realized it, the store had filled up with even more people. However, the looks in their eyes weren't confrontational. No, they were looks of expectations and curiosity. They were the eyes of onlookers who were wondering what kind of match was going to occur and who was going to win.
最高の舞台じゃないか。面白くなってきやがったぜ。
ケイチくん、頑張ろうね。頑張ろうね。はうわ。
Rena was already fully charged. Mortal laws and common sense held no power before the might of Rena in her cute mode. I definitely didn't want to fight her if possible.
リカちゃん、頑張れ！僕たちも応援してるよ！
はい、頑張りますですよ。
Rika-chan, who was exuding way too much charm no matter how you looked at it, had already won over most of the onlookers to her side. Nonchalantly avoiding things had always been Rika-chan's creed, but for her to blatantly laying out her machinations like this, something was definitely strange. Like Rena, she was somebody who I didn't want to fight if I could help it.
もちろん一番戦いたくないのはミオンさんですけどね。
So that leaves that the only one we want to fight is Satoko.
何度か部活で奴と視線をくぐったが、今日ほどヤバいと思う日はないぜ。
ミオンさん、一昨日のポーカーで負けたの相当根に持ってるみたいでしたよ。
らしいな。つまり今日はミオンの復讐のための特設舞台ってわけだ。
Definitely, if the prize money is coming out of her pockets, then most definitely. Almost as though she were psychic, Mion turned towards us. Her eyes silently conveyed the message, "You guys just figured that out now." It wasn't just Mion. Both Rena and Rika-chan were more pumped up than they would ever been. Yeah, one's gonna pop up today. Huh? Without a doubt, there will be casualties. Foreshadowing.
私とケイチさんがなんとなく置いてきぼりですわね。いかがでございましょう。なんでしたらスマートに初戦をお手合わせ願えませんかしら。
そうしよっか。俺もエンジンがかかるまで鳴らしよし。
My spinal column shuddered like it had been struck by a bolt of lightning, and like a pillar of ice was being jammed into it began to freeze. I could almost see the flames backlighting Satoko with their intensity. Even then, while Satoko was displaying a normal smile, it was cold and inhuman, almost as if it was a plastic mask.
そんなに俺を初戦で消したいかよ。殺気が隠せてないぜ。
あら残念ですわね。ケイチさんにしてはなかなか慎重でしたよ。
Without a doubt, it was a trap. I don't know what she had up her sleeve, but if I fought with Sadako during the opening round, my loss would be more certain than if I went against Mion herself. A pitchback miasma permeated the inside of the store. Did they all want to win that 50k yen prize that much? Nah, that's not right. The only ones competing for the prize money were the casual participants. I was different. I had mistaken this as just a way to fool around on a normal Sunday. It didn't matter when it was, or where it was, or who our opponents were. In our club, the goal is always the very top of the mountain. An intense flame that no strong winds could extinguish, hot enough to melt any steel, began to burn inside me. The fuse had been lit on this unprecedentedly intense club battle. Shut the fuck up and play. It was then that the owner of the store told Mion in a lackadaisical voice that it was about to begin.
みんないいかな？慶長慶長！
Mion began with the formalities, standing in for the owner, and explained the rules of today's tournament. You're only playing to win. There is no second or third place. That's the same rule as our club. There were about 15 people participating. We were to slip into 5 groups via a draw, and each group would have one winner. Each winner in the first stage would advance to the next in order to compete in the final.
さて、各卓の競技方法なんだけど、これは各卓で好きに決めていいよ。このお店にあるゲームなら何を使っても OK。
Already in club mode DEFCON 1, I didn't let the small gap in rules go unnoticed.
ミオン、質問いいか？みんな自分の得意ゲームを主張して決まらないんじゃねえのか？
はあ、そうだね。決まらないと始められないね。
The spectators also nodded along. It was only natural. There wasn't anybody who would simply cede to their opponent's suggestion.
紳士的に決めてほしいけど、そういう時は店のマスターが決めるってのでいい？
It was an event at a toy store after all. You would expect the owner to referee. After that, Mion's rundown continued. It ended with the rule that any losing participant would have to buy the game they lost at. A rather nice proposition for the store. First, we used the draw to split into 5 groups. Everybody lined up in a single file and began to draw tickets that the shop owner had prepared. It was my turn. Alright, time to draw. No matter who I was up against, I would crush them. At that moment, Mion began to laugh with a hawkish gleam in her eye.
当然わかってると思うけど、部活メンバーには一般参加者とは別に罰ゲームがつくからね。
そんなことだろうと思って。内容はなんだ？
勝者が敗者一人一人に1個命令。
Contrary to how simple it sounded, it was a terrifying eventuality, the subject of which no one could predict. Damn you, Mion. Was she really planning on parading me around Hinamizawa in cat ears and a banana hammock with a tail attached or something? The look on Mion's face told me she wasn't going to let me off that easy. On top of that, this time, it wasn't just the person who finished last who would have to submit to the penalty game.
敗者一人一人に命令。つまりビリでなくても罰ゲームってことだな。
そういうこと。
勝者がない場合は、部活メンバーが全員途中で脱落したらお流れか？
ケイちゃん、脳みそは元気？
何？
The look on Mion's eye became that of a lion baring its fangs.
我が部の再生がどう間違ったらこんなひよこども相手に負けるっての？ ケイちゃん、初戦で消えて私に恥かかさないでよ。
Even so, I didn't feel threatened. The more into it my opponent was, the stronger I would
見て
become.
ろ、ただミオンにいじめられてたわけじゃないってことを見せてやるぜ。
会おうね、決勝で。
The results of the draw were enough to make you cry conspiracy. All the members of the club were nicely divvied up amongst the 5 tables. How did this happen when the draw was that random? The thought that I was already caught in Mion's puppet strings made me feel uneasy. That was fine though. I will crush all your petty tricks. Now, where were my opponents? Everybody was headed to the table corresponding to the number on their ticket. The competition at my table was these two, huh? They look younger than me. Huh?
あれ、お前ら学校のクラスメイトだよな。
If you have to ask.
あ、どうも富田です。
Wait. Are you somehow related to Tomitake-san?
彼は岡村です。
Okamura-kun greeted me by nodding his head. So my opening round was to be against my juniors from school. Just saying, but it seemed like a pretty easy matchup. Lucky. Time to destroy them without mercy.
じゃあみんな、それぞれに対戦ゲームを決めて始めてちょうだい。
With Mion's declaration, the inside of the store suddenly became lively. Y'all wanna play Munchkin? Everybody was yelling their favorite games at each other, trying to gain an advantage before they started. Even my 2 classmates, who seemed taciturn at first glance, began to fiercely insist on their own games as soon as the signal was given. Of course, I would kick those suggestions aside. There was absolutely no reason to pick a game your opponent was good at.
悪いな、どれも知らないゲームなんだ。もっと知名度の高いやつにしてくれ。
Of course, they didn't agree to the games I suggested either. I could only smirk bitterly. Naturally, after 5 minutes, this table still couldn't agree on a game. Obeying the rules, we asked the store owner to decide on a game. Clearing his throat, the shop owner brought a game board from the back of the store. It was a game called Billionaire. Quite the vintage we have here. Come to think of it, if you lose, you have to buy this game. That damn shop owner, was he using this competition to get rid of all the games he couldn't sell?
これなら俺も知ってるよ。2人も知ってるよな。ルーレットを回してゴールを目指す。最後に清算して一番お金を持ってるやつが勝ちだ。
The two nodded in agreement, and finally the game was underway. At that time, I already had the feeling of impending crisis. I wouldn't realize why until the game progressed a bit.
1、2、3、4、出産祝いをもらう。全員から$5000もらう。悪いね。
Okay, I built a bit of a lead.
1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8と。ボーナス。銀行から$10万もらう。
What? The tables were turned in an instant.
1、2、3出世コースに進む。
Oh, that's a good route. It seemed like only my piece was landing on the steady paces. I had doubts as to why Mion didn't bring out the board games for club activities, but that reason was laid bare to me before my eyes. That's right. I had only realized it now. This game was completely based on luck. What could I possibly do to make sure I ended up in the first place at the end? The ultimate outcome of this game was decided in a place beyond human hands. How were the other club members doing? My eyes naturally wandered off to the other tables. Mion's table was... what? They weren't doing anything. Had they still not decided on a game? This naive idea existed to distract me from the most frightening possibility, that the game was already over. Mion was lounging about, leisurely holding some juice she bought from the vending machine outside in one hand. When our eyes met, she gave me a look of ease. It couldn't be. She had already finished? What game was it? That easily? It was probably too late to be concerned with at that point. It was only 5 minutes since we started and her two opponents were already beyond recourse. They were sitting there, slumped over in disappointment, muttering to themselves, trying to figure out where they went wrong. For that, they would find no answer. Was there any reason for their defeat other than they sat at the same table as Mion? Then, what about Rena's table? The spectators were causing quite a commotion. It looked like their game was Karuta. The shop owner was apparently the one reading out the cards. Rena tended to dawdle along and space out a lot. Wouldn't she have a hard time with this game?
じゃあ読みますよ。犬も歩けばくたびれる。
At that same instant, the shop owner began sounding the words. The card in question appeared off the face of the table. No, the face of the earth. Impossible. Where did it go? It was against Rena's cheek. She was rubbing it there. Irredeemable. Looking at the card Rena was rubbing against her cheek, it was some anime-themed version of Karuta, with rather cute moe illustrations decorating the cards. Basically, it was a picture of a pretty dog girl with slightly large chest, painting and half in tears as she was being pulled along a chain. With those type of pictures, even I could play with godlike speed. Of all people to play that game, it had to be Rena. It was entirely possible that her fingertips were on the verge of breaking the sound barrier.
決まったね。
Mion smiled coolly. Seeing no further reason to keep watching, she turned back. After that, the second card started being read out and BAM! BAM! Such decisive sounds echoed. Well then, how about Satoko? Oh, she was playing a rather orthodox game. Concentration. Judging from the distressed look on Satoko's face, it seems that she was struggling somehow. One of the main characteristics of concentration is that the pace of the game speeds up as it goes on. As the number of cards to memorize decreases, it becomes easier to match several pairs in a row. It wouldn't be exaggeration to say that the first person to take over the flow of the match can run away as the winner. The cards still in play had decreased. If you memorize the card that had been turned over before, you should have a good chance to sweep the table at this point. Satoko probably knew the positions of all the remaining cards. However, her turn came a little too late. If her opponent followed up, the match would be decided.
北条、悪いけど、僕も優勝賞金を狙ってるんだ。悪く思うなよ。
This guy. Did he have the locations of the remaining cards memorized? He was completely certain of his victory. The tension on his face relaxed.
決まったな。
I whispered that in a bored manner as I turned attention to my own game. I spun the wheel.
え、そんな、確かにここはハートのエース。
Sorry? There was a commotion at Satoko's table as the shout rang out. The other two at my table turned around in surprise. I didn't. After all, there really wasn't anything to be surprised about. The onlookers were confounded, most of them certain that the Ace of Hearts should have been there. There is no way. I must be seeing things. It must have been because I was excited. So assured in his victory, the distress over his defeat ran deep. That's how it is. If his opponent wasn't Satoko, then the Ace of Hearts certainly would have been there. What a fool. When you're up against Satoko, you can't let your guard down for a moment until the battle is over.
あら、ケイチさんの勝負はまだつきませんの？センスないですわね。
With a refined tone of voice reserved only for winners, Satoko called out. For the casual observer, it must have looked like she only eked out the victory. From my point of view, however, she was only playing around. The roles of winner and loser had already been decided. It was nothing more than child's play. The laughable part about it was that her opponent didn't know his role had already been assigned.
やるじゃねえか。ハートのエースなんておしゃれな罠をかけやがって。
相手を仕留める罠はほんのちょっぴり。それも1個で十分ですのよ。
Satoko was a trapper. Her true talent was never having one misfire. Setting off only one trap was more than enough? Ain't that cool? The fact that the other club members were winning one after another with their own brand of play only added to my impatience at my own lack of progress. Alright, how was Rika-chan doing? How was our club's sly little fox doing? What the fuck is that? Over in that corner, the mood at the table was decidedly different from the others. The game at Rika-chan's table was, you know that battery-powering fishing game? The one where fish opened and closed their mouths as they rotated on the platform, and you used the magnetic fishing rod to pick them up? That old thing. It seemed they planned on competing by seeing who could catch the most fish, but it had become an atmosphere you could hardly call competitive.
わあ、釣れましたですよ。
うまいうまい。リカちゃんうまいよ。おっとっと、また釣られちゃったよ。リカちゃんはうまいな。
I knew that Rika-chan had already charmed her opponents, along with the onlookers, before the matches had even begun, but brilliantly played. That corner had become an informal meeting of Rika Furude fan club.
リカちゃんの圧勝だよ。リカちゃん、お魚釣りうまいんだね。
リカちゃんが釣ってるのは多分魚じゃないと思うな。
Hearing that, she glanced over my way briefly. This is my way of getting serious. That's what I heard.
リカにしかできない、リカだから許される大技ですわね。
Yeah! A masterful technique.
前原さんの番ですよ。
ああ、すまん。俺の番か。1、2、脱税の追徴課税。5万ドル支払う。
Ouch. In contrast, my game, what an unseemly situation this was. Noticing the uneasiness creeping across my face, my companions came to see how I was doing.
あれ？ケイチ君、ひょっとして苦戦かな？
Heiichi-kun, you should have chosen one of the games that was suggested because odds are Mion set this up with the owner. So essentially, she chose your game.
岡村、あなた今いくらぐらい持ってますですの？
Okamura, who had wrung lots of money out of the elite course, began to count a stack of white 100k dollar bills.
98万ちょいくらいかな。
God damn.
富田はどれくらいお金持ちですか？
僕は88万ドル。まだまだ逆転できる位置だね。
Those two, it looked like they would easily surpass $1 million.
で、ケイちゃんはいくら持ってんの？
Mion's tone of voice was grim from the get-go. It was her disappointment and disgust as club president.
仕方ねえだろ。このゲームルーレット回す以外に何も作戦がないんだぜ。イカ様があるとしたらなんだよ。2人に目をつぶって100数えてもらって、その隙にルーレットに細工でもするのか？そんなのできるわけねえだろ。
Rika-chan gently pet my head. Still, she wasn't too happy.
プー様ですわね。
はい。
一度は好敵手と思ったのに幻滅でしたよ。投げちゃダメだよ、ケイチ君。何か逆転があるはずだよ。頑張ろう。最後まで頑張ろう。
Like I said, how am I supposed to make a comeback with this game relying entirely on luck? Right, Mion? Mion's face, however, was unbelievably indifferent, like she was watching something completely unexciting. She then turned her back without saying a word.
おい、ミオ。
It was a pathetic voice that irked even myself.
失望したよ。みんな本気なのに。ケイちゃんだけは本気になってくれなかったね。
本気ってなんだよ。気合でルーレットの目をコントロールしろってのかよ。そんなのできるかよ。
本気のケイちゃんならそのゲームでも開始10秒でケリをつけてたね。
みーちゃん、そんなに怒ることないよ。待ってよ。
Mion, in a bad mood, cast me aside and disappeared into the depths of the shop. Maybe it was because it had become an awkward situation, but the spectators dispersed from around my table. Damn it! Are you saying I'm not serious about this? Are you saying if I were serious, I would have settled this game of chance in 10 seconds? If I were serious, everybody was praying for my victory. They believed in me. Did I betray their expectations? Was it because I wasn't serious?
ゲーム進めます？
The two of them were timidly trying to resume play. I didn't respond to that. The table sunk into silence.
前原君は投了でいいかな。
The owner, thinking I was forfeiting, started to announce the cancellation of the game. At that moment, the demon inside me let loose a howl and awakened. I get it now, Mion. What it means for me to be serious. I'll show you! I clamped my hands on the shoulders, speaking in a low voice after pulling them closer.
富田君、岡村君、取引しよう。俺を勝たせろ。
The two of them, not immediately understanding what I had just said or the meaning behind it, were momentarily confused.
前原さん、暴力はなしですよ。
Fuck that, I'm snapping your neck, son.
ちゃんとゲームで勝敗を。
話は最後まで聞け。お前らの望みは何だ？優勝して5万円か？
そりゃそうですよ。5万なんて大金。二度とないチャンスですよ。
仮に優勝したとして、お前らその5万で何をする？どんな楽しみ方をする？
None of your business. The two of them considered briefly.
新しいゲーム買うとか、お菓子とか、ジュースとか。
小せえ小せえ。バカかお前ら。
じゃあ前原さんが勝ったらどんな楽しみ方があるっていう？
俺か？そこが本題だ。今から言うことを黙って聞け。
We club members have a penalty game separate from the casual participants. If we lose, we have to obey a single command from the winner. From another point of view, the winner earns the prize of being able to order the other club members around.
まず富田君、君は里子萌えだよな。
I could order her to give you a kiss on the cheek.
否定すんな。そして岡村君、君は理科萌えだな。赤くなるな。
I drew the two of them, red-faced and conscious of whether anybody else heard of what I just said, even closer.
美少女
Lollies?
萌え、男の推薦、男のロマン。
What?
例えるなら永遠にたどり着けないエデンの園。
I hate lollies, dude.
だけど目指すんだろ。それは俺たちのハートに熱い魂が燃えよと叫ぶからだ。
That sensitive age where you couldn't say you liked the girls you liked. Understanding that gave me all the more power.
俺が優勝したら富田君、里子を一日首輪付きで君の妹にしてあげよう。
A red fountain spewed from both Tomitake-kun's nostrils. Tomita-kun's.
そして岡村君、君には猫耳リカちゃんに手綱をつけてお散歩させてあげよう。
Blood erupted from the vein of Okamura-kun's forehead.
そんなこと。
うろたえるな。お前たちは俺に無理やり付き合わされたことにすればいいんだ。前原先輩のわがままの犠牲者なだけ、いやいやでいいんだよ。分かってる。お前たちの胸の内は全部分かってる。
Then, I suddenly lowered the tone of my voice.
俺は灰色の学校生活を送ってきた。それがどんなにつまらなく、人生の大切な時間を浪費したことになるのか。だから後輩のお前たちにはそんな時間を過ごしてほしくないんだよ。
How noble of you.
自分に素直になれ。夢を追え。そして叶えろ。俺が叶えてやる。
It was this moment that the values of men bridged generations.
お
Did I ever have a mentor who ever spoke my mind for me ever so strongly? Never! There was no way there was. That's because in a man's lifetime he will only have 3 fateful encounters. The valuable first time was being experienced right this moment with these two. Pause.
じゃあいいな、行くぞ。せーの。ゲーム終了！
It was such an assertive declaration of the game's ending that everybody in the store turned and looked. It had been less than 3 minutes since I was on the verge of forfeit and all the spectators were certain of my loss.
ケイチさん、どうなりましたの？
A miracle?
勝敗は？
俺の完全勝利だ。
なんですって？あの状況、どうやってひっくり返しましたの？
家庭なんか必要ないよな。男と男の決着だよな。ああ、みんな！
うわー！
The two of them, stifling tears of gratitude, answered strongly from the bottom of their hearts. Exactly what kind of miracle occurred here? During those 3 minutes, the spectators all looked away from my utter disadvantage.
やったよケイチくん！わーい！
The spectators were puzzled at how I was able to so quickly overcome that hopeless situation. That guy. Is he able to control the spinner wheel with his eyes or something? It's a miracle! What devilry is this? He's in cahoots with that Mion, you know? There is no doubt he has some strange trick up his sleeve. I looked at the crowd, who couldn't help but be excited, out of the corner of my eye. Now, fully awakened and in the battle mode, I let out a derisive laugh.
これが俺の本気ってことだよ、ミオ。
遅えっての。
Baring our fangs at each other, we laughed together in a most unsightly fashion.
じゃあこれで部活メンバーが全員1回戦突破ですわ。ということは今度はみんなで対決だね。僕はもう賞金で買うものを決めていますです。もちろんですわ。ねえ。
Satoko and Rena smiled, sneered at each other. These guys. They really think they can win against Keiichi Maibara when he gets serious?
ミオ、失敗だったな。お前はさっき俺に助言すべきじゃなかったぜ。
ひよこが
Shut up, old man.
私に勝つなんて100万光年早いって。
I beat Brock.
ミオ、光年は距離の単位だぞ。
Oh, she's embarrassed. She's embarrassed, alright.
どうするのみーちゃん。5人でどう戦うのかな。
さーてこれだけ豪華な面々が揃ったんだからね。今日という日を急ぐのが惜しいよ。
みーの言ってる意味が難しいです。
まさかてめえ。
Mion's hair flowed elegantly, almost like a cape, as she turned her back to the table.
今日の勝負を部長園崎美音が預からせてもらうよ。勝負方法と日時は未定。ギャラリーは多い方がいいね。Hinamizawaも沖宮も全ての人間の目の前で。これ以上ないくらい徹底的な決着をつけてあげるよ。
逃げる気ですの？いくらみおさんでも卑怯ですことよ。
ひよこが
That's the 3rd time you've called someone a newborn. What the fuck is going on here?
生かされたことにまだ気づかんか。
The combative aura billowing out of Mion's body formed a barrier, stopping Satoko's advance.
また会いましょう。せいぜい首でも洗っとくことね。
With a shrill laugh, Mion left the store. After a moment's silence, the crowd erupted into cheers. When will they resume the contest? Mion's serious, man. The other members did great too. That new guy, Maibara, he's got some strange power. He turned the tables in an instant.
絶対
ミオンなんざ逆さにしてサンズの川に叩き込んでやるぜ。
Oh. The part of the crowd that had apparently overheard the covenant between Tomita-kun, Okamura-kun, and myself erupted into a cheer again. Mion's going to win anyways. She's the undefeated empress. I'm betting on Mion. Now it's going to be Rena with that ungodly speedmate. Satsuko, the trap artist. Rika, the siren. It may be a long shot, but it will be my bara. However, right now, I had no ear for those cheerful voices. Setting the stage for this huge match and then running away like that, I wasn't going to forgive Mion. Outside the store, Mion was getting on her bike as the shop owner was seeing her off.
逃げるなミオン。部長なら逃げるな。俺と戦え。
ごめんケイちゃん、私これからバイト。
What? Like you would see in a sketch comedy show, my legs slipped in opposite directions until I was doing the splits.
うん、ケイチくんがゲームしてる間にみーちゃんに電話があったの。残念だね。
せっかく暑くなってきたのについてないよ。
So what was the whole point of this part of the game?
おじさんの店でさ、特売にお客が殺到してるらしくてさ、レジが足りないから助けてって電話。
おじさんってなんだ？スーパーの店長でもやってんのか？
ささやかなお店だけどね。でもさ、特売やれば主婦が殺到するの常識で読めないのかね。店員足りないのに卵1パックを一人様1点限り10円なんてやるな。
I was a little surprised. You would never think that this was the club president exuding such a dark aura inside the store just a short time ago. It was the usual Mion right now, almost exasperatingly so. My shoulders slumped. That's right. Club mode was over now. But it was really heated today. It really was fun. Damn Mion. She really knows how to fire people up.
私こそ頭がジンジンしびれるくらい燃え上がったよ。特にケイちゃん、怖かった。あの場で本当に噛み殺されるんじゃないかって思ったね。
お仕事だから仕方ないけど、本当に残念だね。この続き本当にやりたいですわね。いつがいいでございましょう。綿流しのお祭りでやるのなんていいですよ。
Oh god, no, no more festivals.
綿流し祭五強爆闘か。そうだね。考えておくかな。
Right now, what were Rika-chan and Mion talking about? Watanagashi Festival? Cotton Drifting 5 Demon? What?
私、週刊漫画みたいないい加減なノリ大好きなんだ。こんな痛快な部活が近いうちにまたできるといいね。
She laughed with a smile that made you feel refreshed just looking at it. At that moment, the shop owner came out carrying a paper bag. I wonder what it is. Is he giving it to us?
今日はみんな本当にありがとう。おかげでイベントは大盛り上がりだったよ。大したものじゃないけど、これ今日のおだちんに。
あ、吉郎おじ、私にはないの？おだちん。
かわいいのが出てきましたわよ。
So, the prize money? When Satoko and Rika-chan opened up the bag, there were cute little stuffed animals inside.
わあ、これかわいい。お持ち帰りしていいの？本当に？
ってことは俺のもかな。なんだかやたら可愛いのが出てきたぞ。
It was a stuffed toy wearing a beautiful dress, one you would use to play house. Rena's eyes were glued to my stuffed doll. Satoko was the same, and Rika-chan too?
ケイちゃんには一番似合わないのが出てきちゃったね。
なんつうのか、プリティっていうかキュートっていうか可愛いのは認めるんだが、着せ替え人形はちょっとな。
ケイちゃんが持ってたら確実に明日からアレな趣味の人扱いだね。うん。
Mion didn't have to go that far. This wasn't something a guy like me should be carrying around. Mion was the only one who hadn't received a present, so I thought about giving it to her. However, after briefly considering, I gave it to Rena instead. Aw, Mion got disappointed, dude.
くれるの？レナに？ありがとう。
保身のためだよ。レナにあげないと夜道が怖い。
違いない違いない。
ミオンにあげようかと思ったけどちょっと違うよな。
へへへへ、分かってるじゃない。私さ、どうして男に生まれなかったのかなって思う時あるよ。
That's that thumbnail action right there.
女でよかったな。男だったらもうとっくに殺してる。
今のうちに殺しといた方がいいよ。じゃないとケイちゃん死んで後悔することになるから。
Mion laughed after saying such an ominous line. Everybody laughed heartily along with her.
来世では神様に男にしてもらえるように頼めよ。俺も男にしてもらうから。
そしたらケイちゃんと組んで軽く全国制覇から始めようかね。
Mion-chan, if you don't get going soon, the shop owner told her meekly. A lot of us looked like we were having a lot of fun, so it must have been hard to put a wet blanket on things.
じゃあね。今日は最高に楽しかった。またねみんな。明日学校で。
バイト遅刻すんなよ。
Everybody waved their hands and watched as Mion left. Before I knew it, the sun was already setting, and the breeze carried a hint of chill.
もうちょっと街で遊んでいく？
Nah, I'm going home. I'm hungry.
それとも帰るかな？暗くなると道が怖いですよ。では、引き上げ時ですわね。今日は本当にいっぱい騒ぎましたわ。
そうだな。帰ろうぜ。
The wind blew gently, as if to cool down those of us flushed with enthusiasm. The road back to Hinamizawa was long, but I didn't really mind.
そうそう。レナさん圧勝でございましたわね。
レナがああなっちゃ悪いけど誰にも勝ち目はないな。
だってすごい可愛いカルタだったんだもの。ほら、買っちゃったんだよ。はう。リカも相変わらずですわ。リカにかかれば男どもなんて赤子の手をひねるようなものですわね。楽勝だったのです。
どこまで計算づくでどこまでが天然なのか。リカちゃんの行く末が実に怖いな。
さとこちゃんだってすごかったね。最後は大盛り上がりだったよ。褒められるようなゲームではありませんでしたよ。ケイチも最後はとうとう牙を剥きましたです。
I had to.
ん？まあな。俺は追い詰められてからが強い男なんだ。
富田さんたちなんだかすっごく応援してましたけど、何ですかしらね。
You might find out eventually.
富田と岡村に何か約束してましたです。きっと内緒話なのですよ。内緒話。
Okay, relax with your creepy ass. Stop, Rena, stop.
なんだろうね。
She's gonna start stalking me again, dude.
男には時に戦いを通じてしか語り合えないものがあるんだ。
Desperately laughing, I frantically tried to avoid some shit. What the fuck? I tried to avoid the subject. After that, everybody continued to praise each other for how they defeated their opponents and reflected on how fun today was.
見てごらんなさいませ。夕日が綺麗でございますわよ。
Satoko, getting even more excited, pointed. Waiting where her finger indicated was an immense sunset, casting even longer shadows of us on our bikes. The cries of the Higurashi were gentle and very comforting. Who is Mion's uncle, dude?
はさ、急におじさんの店のバイトが入っちゃってさ。
なんだなんだ、じゃあ今日の部活はお流れってわけか。
いや申し訳ない。
Mion put her hands together in an apology and grinned.
そんなに部活がやりたかったらおじさん抜きでやってもいいけど、部活ロッカーにゲームがいっぱい入ってるからさ。
There is that famous phrase of hers.
どれか適当に選んで。
The club locker was trans-dimensional space from which Mion pulled games whenever we met for club activities. I wondered how so many freaking games could be stored in the locker. It was even smaller than the one with the cleaning supplies in it. Besides those games, it was also a cornucopia of suspicious objects, costumes, for punishment games. If we lined them up all on the floor in order to sort them, they would definitely fill the entire classroom.
やめとく。俺がいじったらロッカーの中身がドサドサって溢れてきそうな気がするよ。
そうだね。素人は手を出さない方が無難かもしれない。
Mion gave a hearty laugh, implying that the only one who could do so was the club president.
ミー、先生が体育倉庫の鍵を探してますですよ。心当たりはありませんですか？
あれ、私職員室に返せなかったっけ？
Mion said, feeling about in her pocket. Judging by her expression, she must have planned on returning it, but it was still in her pocket.
ほーら、やっぱりミオンさんですのよ。私、絶対そうだと確信してたでございますわ。僕も大正解なのですよ。さとこと一緒に大正解なのです。
Giggling, Satoko and Rika-chan clapped their hands together in celebration.
やかましい。
Slap clap! Mion elbowed Satoko and Rika-chan in their heads and then headed for the teacher's
あ、
lounge.
そうだ。二人とも聞いたか？今日はミオン、バイトがあるから部活はお休みだとさ。
あら、そうなんですの？それはつまらないでご。
Troll? The two of them made disappointed faces. Whatever anyone said, Mion's club was always the number one thing I looked forward to when going to school. It wasn't hard to agree with their melancholic expressions after hearing it wouldn't be happening today.
ミオンってバイトをやってるんだよな。あいつ一体何のバイトをしてるんだ？
Whenever Mion canceled club, it was usually because of her job. However, it also didn't seem like she went there every day. She would go about 2 or 3 days in a row and then not go at all for a while. It sounded like a pretty damn random part-time job, to be honest.
別に決まったお店でお勤めをしてるわけではないのです。
決まってないってことは、じゃあ日雇いってことなのか？
Mion, wearing socks and a helmet, sweating to death in a factory. I couldn't imagine such a thing.
ミオンさんはおじさんの店にお休みが出たりすると応援に駆けつける便利屋さんなんだそうですわ。
ああ、なるほどな。そういえばおじさんのとこでバイトなんて話、前にも聞いたことがあるような気がする。
お店を持ってるおじさんがいっぱいいるので、ミーは引っ張りだこなのです。
She has a lot of uncles who own shops? A lot of them?
あら、ケイイチさんはご存知ありませんの？
へえ、それは知らなかった。そんなにいろいろあるのか？
ええ、パン屋さんとか八百屋さんとかラーメン屋さんとか、他にもまだまだ。あの部活をやったおもちゃ屋さんもそうなんですのよ。
I was dumbfounded. That's amazing!
ミオンの一族って何気に詳細があるんじゃないのか？それだけ
他にも金融業とか不動産業とかアパレル産業とかアミューズメント産業とかいろいろやってると言ってますです。
A land shark. Okay, a couple of weird things came up that time, but still, I could tell it was pretty extensive.
あいつに物を借りると妙に返却期限にうるさいのは金融業者さんの血が流れてるからか。納得。
And land sharks. That explains that.
ミーに100億長者ゲームを借りたことをコロリと忘れてしまったら、 リアルで100億長者ゲームをプレイさせたるどと凄まれましたのです。
At least you would get to keep your kneecaps. Rika-chan being sold into entertainment industry to pay off her debts. Ah, crap. My nosebleed. What the fuck?
リアルに100億長者ゲームをプレイなんてなかなかに愉快そうですわね。
Huh? She doesn't really get it, does she? Recently, she seems so unspoiled. Rika-chan and I gave her a pat on the head.
なぜ撫でられるんですの？さとこはいい子さんですから、なでなでなのです。
Satoko was lost in confusion, but she seemed to understand she was being made fun of. And that's it for this very long first episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I ain't got much more to say. All I know is I'm ready and raring to go, baby. I'll see you guys for episode 2. I'm out of here. Love y'all. Deuces.